Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dynasty Queens. I'm your girl Pamela Nicole, and I've got my gorgeous co-host
Nia J in the building.
What's up, y'all? So guys, we have a wonderful guest in the building today. Everyone meet Miss Eboni Ferguson. Welcome to the Dynasty House, girl.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Eboni, if you don't mind telling us and our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, yes, my name is Eboni. My name is Eboni Ferguson. I'm a spoken word artist. I also write film. Just finished my first full feature length film, Some Real Sugar Honey Iced Tea.
Oh,
yeah. I have a documentary of the making of Some Real Sugar Honey Iced Tea right now that's on Tubi. Poet, altogether artist.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, Eboni, so how old were you when you discovered that you had a gift for spoken word or maybe like writing?
I started poetry so early, probably like 6.
Okay.
I remember I was into poetry when I was such a little kid. How they used to have the old photo books. I used to put my poems inside of there. And I had a poem because I used to always talk about rape culture even as a kid.
Okay.
So I had a poem about rape. And because I had this poem, it was about a little girl who got raped by her father.
Oh, wow.
And the people in the church found it and they assumed that my dad did that to me,
wow.
which was like a whole terrible thing. But
Yeah.
I don't know, since like a really young age, I just been into writing about things that happen with women, even things that I have not experienced. So that was my start into poetry. It was like a whole thing in the church with all types of lies because they couldn't understand how I could write something like that, and I never experienced it before.
Wow, that's really deep for, I'm just thinking as a
6 years
young
old.
child, 6, 7 years old, just having that, I don't know, just that kind of that dialogue in your head. Aside from like the rape poetry, what else did you write about? Was there
I read a lot about colorism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you go ahead and just elaborate on that a little bit?
So colorism, to me, to each his own, but to me, colorism is worse than racism because it's when Black people in our community don't accept us because we're too dark.
Yes.
Like back in my mom's day, they would say you didn't pass the brown paper bag test. Right. So you were not lighter than a paper bag, so you didn't fit in and you weren't considered as beautiful.
Gotcha.
And
That's awful.
yeah.
That's some BS.
That is, I agree. We come in all shapes, all colors. We're all beautiful.
Right.
You know
I want to
what I
go back a little bit to, this still baffles my mind. 6 years old, the rape culture. So how did you even know to write about something like that?
So at 6 years old, it was on my mind. When it came out in the church, it probably was about 9. And honestly, just from different things that I was hearing from my friends and stuff.
So you had a friend who went through an experience.
Yeah, or different movies and stuff that I was watching. I hate to say this, but like I was big on The Color Purple.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
When I read that first intro, my mama had the book.
Yeah.
I read that first intro talking about my daddy on top of me impregnated me. And I was just like, what? And I was like 11 or something when I read that. But to be 6 and be able to connect to that.
Yeah.
Yes. Are you, what sign are you?
Aquarius.
Okay.
Girl, she's an Aquarius too. Okay.
Hey.
Period. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just really fascinates me because a lot of time we don't even, at that age, I can't even wrap my brain around such a heavy topic. But it just shows that you were in tune with other people at a very, very young age.
Honestly, it's so heavy that I write about it less within the last 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up writing about it, and to me, it always caused confusion. I hate to say it, and it always caused arguments.
Okay.
I wrote a poetry book called Eve's Cloth, and on the way to Eve's Cloth being out, and people were so upset about the things I was saying, like prostitutes can be raped, and
absolutely.
it was it's always such a hard topic for people to understand or even agree with you with. I've kind of took more of a break from that, because it's been hard on me. For some reasons, you're judging me for even writing about these things, right?
When this is real life situations that are happening all the time in our communities.
Exactly.
Behind closed doors.
Right.
So I think it should be something that we talk about.
It should be talked about and in a sense celebrated because you have so many women that are too afraid to come out, with Me Too happening and everything.
Right.
I think what you're doing is great because even if someone's like in the dark about it and going through it, they have like a safe space in your poetry. They have a safe space in your book to be like, and reflect and be like, you know what, I'm not alone.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Absolutely. So let's dive into the heavy topic, and sometimes it's the elephant in the closet in our community of colorism. Let's really dive into that. So you are a beautiful Black woman.
Yes.
I want to say that first and foremost.
Thank you.
But did you have experiences with that growing up, and from who, and what kind of impact did it,
have on me?
Stain or did it leave on you?
Very much so. And what I can say, I was privileged enough. Now, my movie kind of like mimics my life a little bit.
Okay.
So Real Sugar Honey Iced Tea, and I play the main character.
Okay.
It mimics my life a little bit, but everything is not completely accurate. But I was fortunate enough to have a parent at home saying, Eboni, you're Black, you're beautiful. To the point that when I went to school and people were calling me ugly, I was like, what's wrong with you?
What are they talking about?
Exactly.
I'm just the cutest thing ever. And that was an issue because people were like, there's like, if you hear about me in my old neighborhood, they'll be like, oh, she walks with her head up
They thought you were
high.
stuck up because you believed in
she's stuck
yourself.
up. Because no matter what you said to me, I didn't believe that. But I would say a lot of colorism issues that I had came from men.
Okay.
Like just being a girl in the group, like you can't be that. Like I remember being with my best friend she's lighter, and all the girls I hung with, they were lighter women. And I remember hearing like from one of the guys around my way, he was like, you can't be the most prettiest one because you're the dark one. So if you had like lighter hair and you had a lighter complexion, then maybe you could like be just as beautiful as they are. So,
and they usually be chocolate than their damn self. Talking all that
Always.
Always. And that's funny that you say that because a lot of times, like I'm married to a Jamaican man, but I have a child outside of my marriage and it's by a white man, and people didn't understand like why I would talk to a white man. And it was because growing up, for some reason, like white men were more attracted to me than men who were close to my complexion. Yeah. So a lot of times I would be messing with light-skinned guys or a white guy because it's like, I can't like you, you're dark. And then if we have a baby together, it's going to be dark.
That is.
Gotcha. It's almost some kind of trauma, like like a generational type trauma that you would be creating. So I see that, but because
that brown bag thing, that is like some old like slave stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
We need to get out of that. Like
that narrative is gone.
And
like,
you think it would be over? Yeah, you think it would be over, but when I was saying about dating a dark skinned guy, I wouldn't mind, but they would mind. That's what I meant.
Okay, gotcha.
The reason why I dated lighter guys was because that's who liked me. I'm for who likes me.
Right.
No, I understand.
Definitely.
I have a friend like that.
If you like me, then maybe I can like
good. I got that. And it goes both ways too, because I know men that they've dated white women and it was because they had like a negative connotation with Black women. It was like, oh, they think that I'm like lame. They think that I'm like corny. But
it's sad, but
who's
it's
out
true.
there loving me? And so it's hard to like kind of like get,
it is,
turn it around, if you will.
And people don't understand unless they've been through it. New age, I would say we're more acceptable to Black women and dark skinned women, but even now, like I'll hear the line. I have a poem where I say the line too is you're pretty for a dark skinned girl. Like,
I hate that.
You would think that line would be extinct by now, but people say it so much, and sometimes I don't even take it to offense because I'm like, you can't even help it.
Yeah, it's embedded in their brain that for whatever reason, it's just crazy.
It is crazy.
And if we realize that these are things that were implemented in us by white slave owners and people that wanted to have us divisive and not together. I grew up in a militant home, so I know. I was, light, but I was raised. I was Black, and I'm proud. So
right. Because at the end of the day, they look at us all the same.
We get stopped by the cops. Hello, they don't care nothing about.
It don't matter
how light
what
you are.
Red, brown. Don't matter.
Okay, they're gonna slam my head into the pavement just like anybody else.
Right. There's no difference.
Right, for sure.
So tell us more about your movie. Just go on. Like, what? When did you start? With directing and everything?
So I started writing films in high school, like short films.
Okay.
I worked with a company from Philadelphia called Big Picture Alliance.
Okay.
And they let you write your own film and direct your own film in high school. So that was really cool. And I remember it premiered at the Franklin Institute, and it premiered at a whole lot of different high schools. And I remember people recognizing me on a bus and stuff like that. So Big Picture Alliance was a really good, interest into me writing film. After that, I started in theater, and then about 4 years ago, my friend asked me to write her a short. That's when I got back into writing the films. Yeah. And it was called The Horror Script. And it won a lot of... We did it for fun. It was like a joke, but it won like a ton of film festivals. And after that, I was like, it's time for me to write my first full feature film.
Right.
So that's when I wrote Some Real Sugar Honey Iced Tea. It is a tribute to Philly. And I'm so I'm proud of the fact that to me it's not the average Philly film with just violence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, there's a small amount of violence. We do talk about it and foreshadow it some, but it's not one of those things where we're praising violence.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much stuff about Philly that people don't know, like the arts community.
Right.
There's a lot of my poetry inside of the film, but the film is about Ayanna, a girl who is going through things at home. The things that she's going through are colorism, because she has a lighter sister. And then the other thing that she's going through that was deep to my heart, because it's something that I went through, is drug addiction from one of her parents. So she's fighting through that and fighting through all the things that goes through in Philly. Her grandma makes this tea, and the tea makes her feel better. So throughout the movie, you see Ayanna making this tea, and later on it becoming like her having a tea company. But it's about her love with Philly, her love-hate relationship. And it's also a love story between the love of her life, which is Dom. Eternal Sincere plays Dom, and he's a really dope artist in Philly. He has a lot of different independent films and stuff like that. And her relationship with Dom kind of mimics her relationship with Philly. Like, if anybody knows about Philly, we have this love-hate relationship with Philadelphia. Like this is our city. We bleed green. We want to fight for it. But there's also some things that go on here that, it's just one of those uncomfortable things, but we love our city, and that's what the movie is about.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I love how she said that, because, when we come here and film and visit and everything, we always just hear about the negative parts of Philly, the gun violence and everything like that, and how rough it is. So just to hear a nice twist on it, that love hate, because that's the reality of things. We all have this love hate relationship, not just for the city, but just in life, internally. So I do appreciate that narrative that you have for your film. That's
Thank
cool.
you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Who were some inspirations that you had? Because I know one thing I do know, and I've known for a long time, is that Philly has a very saturated artsy community, whether it be music, like you said, spoken word.
Yeah.
I know me growing up, I listened to Jill Scott music, Soul Child, stuff like that. But when it comes to the arts, when it comes to movie making or production, who inspired you to
It's funny you say that, because when I was young, and again, Real Sugar Honey, that documentary is on Tubi, guys. Check it out. I talk about this. But when I was young, I was just obsessed with Omar Tyree, and he wrote this book called Fly Girl. And a lot of people know about Fly Girl. A lot of people know about Philly because of Fly Girl. So I, growing up, that's the book that I read. So when I wrote this film, I wrote that I meet him inside the film. That's what I wrote. And I'm I've been in touch with him one at a time when he was on the magazine, but I'm I don't know if he's really going to be in this film. I don't really know if he's going to be a part of it. But listen, I'm walking on faith.
Right.
Let me not get emotional.
No, that's okay. This is a safe space, girl.
Yeah. I cry whenever I talk about it, because it's such it's so crazy, how obsessed I was with Fly Girl and the Fly Girl movement. So in my film, when I called him up, hey, I want you to edit the film. I want you to edit my script. And I also want you to be a part of Fly Girl. I want you to be in the movie, and I want to talk about Fly Girl in the movie. So in my book, the main character, Ayanna, is obsessed with Fly Girl. And that's how her ex-boyfriends try to come back into her life, because he has a signed copy, and he introduced her to Omar Tyree. So yeah, shout out to Omar.
Wow.
So yeah, we got a lot of Philly legends in the film.
That is amazing.
Yeah, shout out to Omar.
Let me tell you, I read that book when I was in 9th grade. One of my homegirls put me onto it, and I was 14. And the stuff that this girl, she was screwing grown men and
it was a lot.
Just, it was heavy.
Jeez.
Almost like some coldest winter ever type of stuff.
Yeah.
I was into those type of
Yeah.
books.
Me too. Me too.
That's really dope. Oh my God.
So yeah, that's probably that's like the best part of the movie to me, that I got to get Omar Tyree in the movie, and he wasn't easy on me at all.
Right.
And it was something that he didn't like. He was very vocal, but I appreciate him for being a part of it, and I even appreciate the education I got working under somebody like him. And not just did he encourage me, but I also encouraged him, because I mean, he was going back into film anyway, trying to get into film, but now I see he's in different movies, and movies that are out first, but mine was here first.
Yes, let him know. She's like,
mine was here first, but theirs came out first. And that's another thing about me shooting this movie. Like, people don't understand how much work it takes to shoot a film. And a lot of, I'm not trying to put down anybody, but a lot of independent films kind of just like throw it together.
Right.
And we're in post right now. We're taking our time. It's not thrown together.
Right.
And it's just taking so much time, because everything that, from the scoring to the lighting to like everything that's involved with making a film.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is good, because you want, it's your baby. You want to take
my
your
baby.
time. You know, make sure it's done right. So yeah, you did it right.
Yeah, definitely hone in on that craft, because I don't know, I love Tubi, but I do see a lot of stuff that's on there just kind of,
You're just like, how?
like one scene is like you see a bottle on the table, and the next scene is gone.
The bottle's
and
not
I
there.
noticed that. I'm just like, but I am excited. I want to watch your
Yes.
movie.
You will not see that in my film.
Right. She's like, look, we're taking our time with this.
Let's be clear.
I promise you.
Right. None of that.
Let's be clear. I actually just downloaded Tubi for the first time,
Really?
like a month ago, because I'd heard so many bad, like the horrible editing. I'm like, man, do I even want to do this?
Yeah.
But I went ahead and tore the Band-Aid off. So I'm looking.
There's
forward
some
to
really
it.
good films on there,
it
and they
is.
even have some classics on there,
Yeah,
like
they do.
Friday and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there are some good films on there, but just like some people making independent films right now, they're not even trying. They're just throwing things together.
Today's episode of Dynasty Queens is brought to you by Drip Top, the newest, hottest trend in fashion. You guys, if you love fashion, being a trendsetter, looking your best, you can have it all in the palm of your hand. This Drip Top app is what it's about. Fresh trends in fashion. Please believe me, we know what's up. Whether you're into streetwear, the chic style, it doesn't matter. You can be going out a night in the town. We got you. Make sure you check us out. Browse this app. It's at just a drop and click of the tap of the screen. Let's roll. Drip Top.
And the best part of it too is, it's not just about discovering new fashion. It's about the community. It's a full-on community. So you can follow your favorite content creators. You can get tips and tricks to your fashion, whatever you want to do. And on top of that, you can level up your style.
Right.
It's a great thing. So y'all go ahead and download the Drip Top app. You can get it on Google Play and the App Store, Apple Store. And go ahead and look it up. It's Drip Top, DRIPTOCK, and level up your style today. Also, go ahead and visit the website at www.driptop.com, or you can go ahead and scan the QR code right here on our screen. Y'all, don't forget, stay bold, stay fresh, and stay all together with Drip Top.
What is like a really one of your favorite, I guess, classic urban films that really
One of my
you
favorites.
gravitated to as a young woman?
Whew, I hate to say it, because I was just being grown, I feel like, but The Wood was really one of those things.
Ooh, definitely The Wood.
That's me for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The original one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could watch
Tay
that
Diggs and
over
all
and over
them.
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good movies.
That was a good one.
Mhm.
What would you say was your most influential poem that you've ever written so far?
It's kind kind of hard. My poems are like, they vary and they're so different. But one, I guess it would probably be at the two. One of them is called Daughters. It's a tribute to Black women. And it seemed like something I have to do over and over again. It always fits anytime a woman is having something, it fits it. And then another one, is a poem about my nephew. Well, he's more like a cousin, but anyway, it was like a mistaken or identity thing, and he got killed in Philadelphia. And I think that poem, the reason why I would say that, just because it's opened a lot of doors. I had wrote a book after he got killed because it was so much for me. It's called Urban Chronicles of the Ghetto, but it has opened a lot of doors for me at different slams and things like that. Because of that poem, I used to do that poem on CCP TV. I am now one of the faces of community college. So that poem has opened a lot of doors for me in that regards.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like all from like experience too. Like you've had like she's so interesting because Eboni, you've had like things you've written about, heavy stuff that you haven't had the experience personally, and then you also have the other side of the fence where you have had that experience and have just like amazing things to say, and of course, you know, credited stuff. So that's amazing.
Yes.
I love that. I just love like that you're really in tune with, I guess at a young age, you're really in tune with who you are. And then also other people's experiences, and then being able to express it through art. It's just really, I really just respect that so much.
Thank you.
You know, just getting up in front of someone and just delivering your own piece. Which brings me to say, I just need to hear some spoken word.
I already knew.
You know, I need to.
I already knew it was
I'm in the
coming.
mood. I need to be uplifted and something
What do you
to
guys
touch
want
my
to
soul.
hear about?
I don't know, girl.
I think, you know, let's give her a topic. You know, we both have been going, you know, we're both on a journey. I think we need something, you know, inspirational for women, just to give us strength, like a strength.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to do Daughters. What I will say is that I forget some of the lines from it, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
Let's do it.
We are ready.
To all my Black daughters, I want to teach you that you are the complexion of envy, golden blacks to go with your golden history. I want to prepare you for hateful conversations and tell you to wrap your hair so everyone knows you're African goddess. You're beautiful like Egyptian skies at night, like a tan Indian woman, like Snickers, Milky Ways, and Kit Kat bars, the color of pure things untainted, the taste of a sweet dark wine, but you don't age. I want to show you how to wear your dark skin like expensive clothes. Your complexion is expensive, and the sun is a golden elixir to keep you shining like night stars. And if anyone ever tells you anything different, I'm going to sit you at the table and I'm going to teach you how to write bars. I'm going to tell you how the world don't want us to be famous because we be the only shining stars. The darkness of our skin may just dim their lights. No one wants to admit how my dark skin is just so right. I'll give you lines so you could be prepared for the ignorant comments they say about your beauty. She's pretty for a dark girl, or she's pretty for a Black girl. You will be an even darker version of Ruby. And to camouflage from the hate, I'll buy you Black rubies. See, Black people are beautiful like rainbows, and the color of our children no one may ever know. But no matter what your color is, never be upset though. Just be sure to rock your skin proud and wear a fro. Light shades of dark skin, I'm in love with everything about you. And then I go into light shades, but it's long. So I try to do the light shades and the dark shades both in the poem. But
that was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
And very touching and very uplifting.
Yeah.
I have a question. You said your first child is mixed. So how, I'm sure she goes through her own whatever.
He's a boy.
Oh, a boy.
Yeah.
Well, him too, whatever. I'm sure he goes through his own,
a lot. Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So how has your spoken word impacted your children? Or do they appreciate or respect what you're doing? Are they still too young to understand?
Oh, no, they're older. Okay. I only have one young daughter, and she's coming up a little differently than they are, so she appreciates it more.
Okay.
I don't know. I think my daughter and my son is so used to.
They're just like, okay, that's
like, okay, mommy's on the poem again. Could you shut up?
Right.
I feel like it's that. But what I will say is, they don't even know that they're really good writers, and they don't even know or understand that.
Right.
So, and as children, for my oldest, I have a daughter named Jamaica. My son, who's interracial mix, his name is Zion.
Okay.
So I used to make them write, and they were so good at it. And I wish that I could force that out of them, which I can't. But I know that later on it will come out as an outlet.
Right.
Yes.
I'm not like my mom. I remember growing up, like during our times, it was like, you're going to do this. But I'm really not like that with my children.
Right.
But yeah, speaking of colorism and stuff like that, that's how come I could relate on both sides, because my son is light, and I had a lot of issues with him being light too. So this is not just something about being dark, or like he was raised by my husband who was lighter than me, so people would like assume that he would have to be the father and that his mother was like white or Spanish. And I know he went through a lot with that. He wouldn't tell me because I'm like overprotective.
Yeah.
As you should be.
Yeah.
Did y'all say something about my son? I'm really like, I went through a lot with his father. He got kidnapped as a young age, not to go too much into it. So I'm very overprotective with my son. So growing up, he wouldn't tell me all the things that he dealt with colorism, even though it wasn't from being dark skinned, it was from being light. They just didn't understand how he could be my child or be a part of the family, especially when he was younger, because he was even lighter than he was now. So it's just like, that's not your mom. But honestly, we look identical, so it's silly.
Yeah.
But you know, people just don't get or understand it. So I understand it from both sides. And like I said, I'm very overprotective with my son.
That's a Black experience. I know you deal with that with your kids.
I was gonna say, like what you just spoke on. For the first time, I've really never had to deal with any kind of like racism or colorism as an adolescent or teenager, but as a grown woman, I've had people, Caucasian people, tell me that that's not my child. Her hair texture is not, that's a Black child. Yes, she's a Black child. I'm a Black woman. Just because I'm like bright, that doesn't take away from what my race is or who I am. So I got that a lot.
So you understand?
I completely understand.
And as a mom, that sends you into like really an emotional place. So
absolutely.
And a lot of Black families have different skin tones. Like me, I'm the oldest, but my brother who's under me, he's beautiful chocolate. We have the same mama and daddy. People are like, well, it's like
we come out all different colors.
Different colors. So our experience, I think, as Black people, it shouldn't be something that we hide from. I'm so glad that you're here today to talk about this, because for so long, it's been like the pink elephant in the room, like, but we all have our own experience that we go through.
Right.
And at the end of the day, the man, he doesn't care. He just sees us all as
we're brothers and sisters.
Right.
Definitely.
Absolutely. What advice would you give a young woman that wants to pursue spoken word and directing and film? What advice would you give her?
It's advice that I've been hearing online often right now. Couple different people have been saying it, and it's just been in my head. So the first thing that comes to me is you have to be delusional. You really have to be delusional to make it in the arts, because you'll hear you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, the arts doesn't make enough money. And also go in it kind of knowing that the arts doesn't make enough money. So in order to make it in your art, you have to invest in yourself.
Yes.
So go in it also with another plan, not just I'm going to just do my art. No, a lot of the best artists in the world, they're putting their own money out there. They're investing in themselves. So don't think it means that, I no longer work, I'm just going to be an artist. That's not realistic, especially today. You gotta have your own table.
Definitely.
Not just take a seat at the table, but have your own table.
I love that.
Yes.
So that would,
Yeah, I love the twist on it. To be delusional about it, because people get so wrapped up in their head and in their thoughts about like, oh, well, maybe they're right, And I feel like a lot of artists and their artistry, they fall off because they get too focused on what other people have to say rather than just really believing in themselves.
Right.
So I really like your take on that. How you said that.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I think that's wonderful to be delusional. Delusional people are successful people.
They are.
Because we're not paying attention to what society or the people or even family.
Right.
What are you doing? Like, do the normal stuff that everybody else does.
Right. Yeah.
But if that's not who you are, if that's not, then it's just not going to manifest in that way. You have to do your own thing. So
right,
I
yeah.
really respect what you got going on, girl.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I remember last year when I was telling you about how that poem, people used to be like, why are you doing poetry at CCP? Where is that going to get you? And then last year I got a call to be one of the faces of community college. And my commercial was on every channel, and it was just me in the commercial. So it was like you see me huge on your screen with yellow in the background. And that's what I mean about delusional. I didn't know where that was going. I definitely didn't think it was going for me to be on everybody's TV every 5 minutes. People would call me like, Eboni, I see you on TV, I see you on TV. But that's the thing. Like, you don't know where something small might take you. So take every single opportunity you get.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, what advice would you give your kids growing up?
What advice would I give my children growing up? Just to probably believe in themselves. It's so hard for me with my children because, like I said, I probably do it too much. Growing up, like I felt like I was told what I should be doing, and I have like a whole different thing on parenting. Yeah. So I'm always like, so how do you feel about this? I probably ask them more how do you feel than I give advice, and then I would give my advice because I don't want them to wonder about what they are. I just want them to be.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's a good point. I feel, and I've told you this before, but I feel when children are small, they are their most creative and most imaginative, and that's the time to mold them into who they're going to be as they grow older. And I feel as they're exposed to other people, children, adults, they lose that creativity and they just kind of fall in line and do the regular Joe Small stuff. And they can talk, when they're grown in their career, like, oh, I wanted to, well, then why didn't you? Because, when you talk to kids, a career, I want to be, a superhero. I want to be in the NBA and this and that. And they don't understand, like, no one has told them, oh, you can't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think there's some hope, defintle for the delusional people. That sounds so crazy, like an oxymoron. But the delusional people, are a tribe and flourish when they are really in their art and believe in themselves.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
And also, I think this is some Aquarius energy because, like, how she's saying she's raising her babies. I feel like with all three of us, we come from boomers, and it was by the book. Like, you're gonna graduate high school, you're gonna go to college, you're gonna get your bachelor's, get your master's. Hell, you can get your PhD. Like, the more the merrier.
That's like the standard. Like, you got to do that to be somebody. You got to have those specifics.
And corporate America, and that's what you're gonna do for like 30 years, and then you're gonna retire. That, like, everything was kind of like strung along and planned out for us and predestined. So I really do relate to you as far as like how you raise your kids, because I'm the same. I
millennial parenting
absolutely was like, you're going to do what you want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't let me tell you what to do. Don't let me hold you back. Don't let me do any of that. You be your authentic self.
Right.
All the time. So I commend you on that.
Yeah, that's the only way to be.
Absolutely.
Be yourself. Yes, definitely. What other projects do you have coming up this year?
Well, one of the things that I'm doing right now is called Act Up. It's something that I'm doing on Sunday. It's a rehearsal space for actors that's sort of like a school, but I find in acting school, a lot of times there are a lot of rules, or sometimes you might not ever get to get up to do your scene. If anybody knows anything about being in different acting schools, you might not, they might tell you you're not even good enough to do a scene. Oh, wow. So you're paying money and you never actually get on stage. So Act Up is something that I came up with, school/rehearsal space for people to just be able to use acting techniques and mess up. Because for me, I feel like you have to, in order to be good, you just have to try it.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's one of the things I'm working on. And the other thing is just going stronger in film. Oh, I also have poetry shows. I actually have one tonight. I partner with my partner. His poetry names. The name to his poetry shows is Herbs and Word. Mine's used to be Flow With It. So FWI Production and Herbs and Words, we partner together. And we get a lot of poets from the city that are really dope and stuff like that. So those are the things I'm doing right now. But other than that, just trying to become a better writer and trying to dive into this film thing even more and be prepared for my next film, because I feel like I learned a lot with Sugar Honey Iced Tea. I wasn't completely prepared for everything. So preparation right now.
But learning as you go, like doing it and then understanding once you do that first project, okay, you can critique yourself and be like, okay, this is where we need to do like that.
Right.
Do you ever find yourself having like writer's block or just like something like you're just trying to get into it, whether it be poetry or a script, and you're just like, what next?
Probably more with the script. Poetry is almost impossible to have writer's block.
Okay. Right.
But the downside to poetry is that the popular poems and even some of the popular poets, they're not like they were like back when I was around 20. You had to be like I'm not trying to say this, but you had to be a really good poet and you had to do metaphors and you had to do. Now it's just like, I hate this man. He did me dirty. And those are the poets that's making it.
Yeah.
So now it's just hard. I have to remember like, don't write what's popular. Like write what's on your mind. Write the struggle. Because in order to become necessarily like one of the poets of these times, it's kind of crazy.
They're just getting up there and just
social
really
media poets
dumping their brain.
Venting, baby.
Just venting.
It's just like, this sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now I have some in the back of my head because I wrote poetry and stuff as a little girl. I used to write whatever. But who were some people that influenced you? Like I'm talking throwback, like, you know.
Well, some people think some of the new poets look down on her, but Maya Angelou, she's definitely one of the first poetry books I ever like read was a Maya Angelou book. Crazy enough, I had a lot of like strong white women in my life.
Okay.
No, like I had wonderful, strong black women in my life. My mom and my parents and my mother's evangelists. But for some reason, like white women always took to me. And one of the first things they introduced me to, one of my mentors, Amanda, she lives in LA now. One of the first people she introduced me to was Maya Angelou. So
You met her.
no, I mean,
just
yeah.
her.
But,
Okay, her
but
work.
speaking of
I was
that,
like, oh my God. Amazing.
I was so sad about not meeting Maya Angelou when I got to meet Sonia Sanchez.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
That's
that was
really cool. Yes.
And one of the newer, well, I would call her kind of new. One of the newer poets that I love, her name is Sunny Patterson. Yeah, she's not new though. She was one of the poets on Def Poetry Jam. One of my mentors. She was the first poet on Def Poetry Jam. She's also an amazing poet. She's like an Asian firehouse. Her name is Michelle Myers. She's one of my mentors. She's also a teacher at CCP, and the reason why I'm the face of CCP.
Oh, nice.
So I'm more of an old school type of poet girl. Black eyes.
Okay, I love Sister Soldier and people like that.
Yeah.
I have not been exposed to Asian spoken word. I need to.
Oh yeah, she's amazing.
That would be new for me.
No,
I need to tap in.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
She was
really
on the first episode of Russell Simmons' Def Poetry Jam, doing a group poem with one of another poet that she does work with. So she's great.
Nice. I love that. There's like a lot of really cool creatives, you know, in the industry. So it's kind of hard to pick and choose.
That's true.
You know, a favorite. But of course, Maya Angelou, like, she's iconic, a legend. You know, just a click of my heels and arch of my back. Like, look, I fucks with Maya Angelou.
Yes.
Yes, phenomenal woman.
You can't deny it. It's a classic.
You can't deny it. Okay, so Eboni, let everybody know like where they can find you, like as far as social media, where they can follow you, stuff like that.
You can find me on Instagram, Eboni, Eboni Poetry. If you want to know anything about me or any updates, you could go to eboniferguson.com. I try to keep it as updated as possible. And then on Facebook, I'm Eboni Ferguson. Not really, like I have mostly family on there, but I will accept friend requests. But yeah, I feel like Eboni Poetry is probably the easiest way to find me. Don't forget to check out the documentary of Some Real Sugar Honey Iced Tea that's on Tubi. Act Up. I just started a page for Act Up, so I barely have followers. But if you guys want to support, Act Up is another Act Up 215, I think it is another page. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, cool.
I love so much
that.
insight, you know,
Yes.
got different views of poetry. I mean, we've talked to people that do spoken word in the past, but your just take on everything is, I love it. It's different. It's
we
fresh.
haven't talked about this, and this might be like way on the other side, but I do love erotic poetry. A lot of my shows,
Yes. Yes, talk
a
about
lot of my shows
Yes.
are a lot of erotic poets coming.
Okay.
I also write some erotic poetry myself, so I do love some erotic poetry also.
Oh, me
just
too.
to put it
Yeah.
out there.
Me too.
Facts. Yeah, erotic poetry.
There we go. Look, Aquarius
All that
recognizes
stuff.
Aquarius.
Erotic novels.
Always.
Yeah, you got to be able to tap in, you know,
Oh, that's so
to that
funny.
side.
You know, she's
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about, you know, like your poetry at a young age. I remember Literotica was the site back in like high school, and you'd have like poetry, like erotic poetry. So we would like print it out, and that would be like our lunchbox special. Like 3 of my friends, we would print it out at home, and we'd be like, okay, cool. Who you got today? Cool, bet. So we would
Right.
switch like halfway through the week and read, and just it was just
Yeah.
so like invigorating. You know, your hormones
Oh
are
my
racing.
God.
Man,
Terrible. I was terrible as a child. I was reading Zane, so like.
Yes, anything by Zane. I have all the
Yes,
books
Zane,
and
everything.
stuff. The Sex Chronicle. Look,
And I'm like, if I find a Zane book in my daughter's room,
right,
no wonder why my mom was so upset with me.
right.
I even had to hide my Omar Tyree book. It was underneath my bed.
oh wow.
Yeah, so my mom, when he was a part of the movie, she was like,
No, we're not doing this.
Right. Yeah, I think I would hide the books too. Yeah, they left an impact on me, but
Yeah.
just good content and just good material. And
Yes.
I think that era, I don't even know the kids know about that stuff these days.
Yeah, no.
They
They don't have the
don't.
patience.
Yeah,
That's what it is. That's what
Right.
it is.
that's exactly what it is.
Like you were saying, like the the metaphors, everything flowed. Like back in the day, it's just they're just like venting, like we said earlier. There's no structure to the poetry nowadays. Keep it going. Keep
Thank
that
you.
structure going.
Right, or just get right to the point. Like you need to lead me up to,
Poetic foreplay, if
right,
you will.
that big moment, because they used to be so descriptive and everything, and I'm visualizing.
Right, you want to
You
see all
know.
that. I won't say much. I know he said we got to stop. So,
Right.
but next time we can talk about some erotic poetry.
Absolutely.
There's just so many outlets and stuff. I think it's great to be able to express yourself. Do you find it like that it's ever healed you, like going through stuff, like maybe, I don't know, when you're sad or down, like you say, you know what, are you the one who gets to the pen and gets to writing when you feel a certain way? or
Yes,
emotions?
heartbreak, everything.
Oh yeah.
I even sometimes write about old heartbreak.
Yeah.
Yeah, poetry is my outlet.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is my outlet for every single thing I go through in life. I have so many poems that no one will ever read.
Oh, wow.
And
So
those-
just for yourself.
Those are the ones.
Right.
Just for
Those are the
myself.
ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Girl, you need to publish them.
Right. Anonymous, like intrusive
Yeah,
thought type.
ghostwriter, huh?
poetry.
That anonymous stuff, when people drop, because I notice a lot of time people will drop anonymous and then, 6 months later when it's a New York best or whatever,
Yeah.
Then
oh,
they come
it was
out.
me.
Yeah.
I like to pop out. Mhm.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I just love this.
Yes.
Thank you.
I love the vibe. Were you fond of like what's that movie with Nia Long and Lawrence Tate? Were you fond of Love Jones?
Of course, yes. I love Love Jones,
Yes.
and I hope that people find the Love Jones moment in this film. Like even the sex scene that I have, I'm doing a poem to. So instead of like playing a song, one of my erotic poetry poems will be playing.
Ooh.
And you did that scene. You were the actress, right? You the
I
lead.
was.
Ooh. How
Oh.
was that? How was filming a sex scene?
You know what? It's
Let's get to the
Wait a minute.
well, I'm really lucky. Eternal is like a complete gentleman.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm really lucky. But in person is more like left leg, right
Yeah,
leg,
it's
left leg.
choreography. Yeah.
Yeah, but it still was a dope scene to shoot, and he's a very handsome man, so
Yeah.
you know.
Made it real easy.
Yeah, it wasn't hard. But yeah, he's a perfect gentleman. He's one of those people that's like, I'm not touching you too much. I'm not doing
Right.
too much.
That's
so
good.
That is.
Ask the questions.
Gentleman, like you said.
Mhm.
I just love, the whole context of everything. And I think that more women should, I don't even want to say put their panties on. Take their panties off.
Mhm.
Right.
Let your hair down.
Let it down.
and really tap into who you are, because erotic poetry will really, I think, bring out the sensual side of you, you know, erotic novels, stuff like that. But I think it needs to come back, you guys.
Yes.
We need a modern, and that's why we have Eboni.
Yes.
I'm here for it.
All day.
Right.
My husband is probably going to kill me, but whatever. I do what I want anyway, so clearly.
Do you have any goals for like film festivals or anything?
Yes. Well, for Sugar Honey Iced Tea, I'll probably only try a few film festivals.
Okay.
Because I'm really trying to get it on something. I'm hoping I could get more like a BET or something like that.
Right.
And it's kind of hard. Film festivals kind of like slow down the process.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But in ACT UP, I'll be doing a bunch of shorts for film festivals and stuff like that.
Nice.
The documentary was in the HBCU Film Festival. I wish I could think of the name of their film festival and shoot them out. It was in Washington. What's the name of that school? I can't think, but it was really dope. It was a lot of famous people there. Yeah, it was a really dope event. So I got lucky with that. But with Sugar Honey Iced Tea, I'm trying to get
network pick up.
I'm trying to get
Okay.
Network
Well, we're gonna keep our fingers crossed.
Thank you.
And I see it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I got to get into some of your content. I want to, I want to watch and listen to, and read some of this poetry. So I'm like, yep. Eboni is the next, superstar in that realm. Right. Very nice. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Eboni, for stopping by today. We had a
fun.
great time. We had a good time. Talking about erotic stuff and content.
Exactly, getting deep.
How did we even get there?
Right, and also, the deeper content, the colorism, and standing on who you are, and then us just coming together as a community. I think is really important as women.
Absolutely.
That we vibe, and keep this.
It don't
this
matter
thing going.
what shade of brown, y'all. It
Right.
really doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So
It doesn't.
just got to come together,
Right.
empower each other.
Exactly. So I need all you viewers to comment. Let us know if you have any questions for Eboni. If you have your own personal stories about, feeling inspired to write spoken word, or, if you felt like getting up in front of people but didn't have the guts or the, to do so. But let us know how you feel about everything. Make sure you also like and subscribe. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yes. And so you guys, I am your girl, Nia J. I have my beautiful co-host,
Pamela and Nicole.
and this has been another episode of Dynasty Queens.